welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. I know I am like a week behind with posting a video on my weekly promised schedule, but I was away on vacation getting some much needed rest and relaxation. And now I'm back to, what I'm sure is going to end up being chaos. We're back to a pre-pandemic schedule, I guess. My kids hadn't been in school, like physically in school, for like a year and a half. And today they went for the first time, I guess, in almost 18 months. And we were all pretty shell shocked. So we'll see how this goes. Fingers crossed, for a successful and safe COVID-free year. Still some wild times that we're living in. I hope people are out there wearing masks and just not getting caught up in all of this political bullshit and drama that's going on in the world, because, we should all be on the same side at the end of the day. Otherwise, this is never going to end, and I am quite sick of it. But anyway, you didn't come here for that rant today. You came here to listen to me rant and review and rave about books, right? So today I'm going to be reviewing So We Can Glow by Leesa Cross-Smith. So We Can Glow. And I don't know if you've ever read any of Leesa Cross-Smith's books. The only one that I've read before this one was Whiskey and Ribbons. I think it was called Whiskey and Ribbons. And one of the things that I was, so captivated by with her writing is she has this very poetic way of writing. Like, her prose is just like, it's almost like poetry, the way that she describes things, the words that she uses. I mean, the imagery is really palpable in her writing. And in this particular story was no exception. All of the short stories were, you felt something. I mean, just straight out of the gate, the first story that was in here was called We Moons. And oh my God, I mean, that I just kept going, after reading that. I mean, it took me a few days to read this one just because I had so much other stuff going on. But all of the stories are about women and their relationships, mostly with men, with their families, with their mothers, and ultimately with themselves. But the way that she explores that, a lot of the stories are maybe like essay format. A lot of them kind of pick up in the middle of the action, but they are all very... there are a lot of timely stories. They all ache of nostalgia and freedom and youth. Mistakes we make in relationships, like with heterosexual relationships, like, being foolish for boys and then ultimately foolish for men. And some of the stories, like at the beginning of the book, because I think there was like 45 it was like 45 short stories, so there's a lot going on. But again, they're short stories, so it doesn't take it doesn't take a long time to get through them. But some of the stories, like, maybe towards the beginning of the book, maybe it's a story about a woman in her youth, her and her friends, and things that they got into, and all that kind of jazz. And then you fast forward like 20 stories in, there's another short story kind of with those same girls, but now they're older and they're moms, or they've gotten married, or things like that. And there was one in there that was, I didn't know what was going on at first. I thought this couple was having an affair at the beginning, and because it was always talking about, the way that the woman was describing it was like, she only had this person for a short time, like they met at this place and they, their time was fleeting and this and that. But, spoiler alert, turns out, again, further in the book, she kind of revisits that story, and it's a couple who, I don't know if it was once a year or once a month, they took like a trip together where they were basically strangers, and they were trying to revive their marriage and their relationship after a tragedy had happened. But they're all very clever stories. Like I said, very well written. You know, and the cool thing about it is, you know, like with me, being able to, you know, you could, this is a book where, I mean, you won't want to put it down, but you could put it down. You could read a few of the stories and kind of savor the stories and feel, you know, satisfied with what you've read and with the endings. And then you have things to do, or you want to go away and come back and pick it up. It's like you're starting a whole new story, but you're still within that same book. So many, there were quite a few that I could even see myself in. I mean, she writes, I think Leesa Cross-Smith, I've seen a picture of her. She's an African-American writer, but her stories, like, they're about every woman, right? I mean, and even like from her description, she writes about women like, you know, living in the Midwest, white women living in the Midwest or on farms or in the South, or men, you know, of various ages and races. That's the thing that I really have enjoyed about her writing, because I know sometimes there's a bit of controversy, because I've seen it and you know, been privy to some of the conversations from readers who feel a certain kind of way when writers who are not persons of color write about that experience, right? Because it's like, how much, like, they don't maybe know the nuances, and like, are they writing it from a place of condescension? Are they writing it of a place that's too vanilla? So a lot of people that I've come in contact with that read a lot of books are kind of put out when, you know, non-black people write about black people or Hispanic people or Asian people, if they are, you know, not a person of color. But when I was reading this book, I forgot sometimes that, you know, and this is obviously the flip side of that. She is a person of color writing about you know, persons of color. But there was a lot of times I was reading it, and her nuances and the things that she was I forgot that a black writer had written some of the stories that were in there. I think that she has a firm grasp on some of those experiences, and maybe, you know, she's writing from a place of you know, because there was a group of friends, and there was, you know, one of the friends was black, two of the girls were white, and I think there was a Hispanic or Asian girl. So maybe just she's kind of collecting memories or stories from close friends who happen to be of other races. I don't know, but she did a really good job, because I've read books, obviously, by persons of color, and the descriptions and, like I said, some of the nuances, I hate to keep just overusing that word, but they just seem to kind of be spot on from what I've read. You know, obviously I haven't experienced, you know, living in that skin, but, you know, like I said, a lot of the stories, I just think any woman, and that's my whole point, I think any woman, regardless to your age or race or whatever, in these 45 stories, you're going to find something that pulls you in or makes you go, oh my God, that could be about me, or that's totally how I feel, I totally can relate to that, or, you know, or whatever. So if you are looking for some stories that kind of speak to womanhood or speak to nostalgia, or melancholy, things that are kind of melancholy, I would definitely recommend this one. Thanks for watching. If you've read So We Can Glow, I would love to know, like, what you thought about it, and what maybe one of your favorite stories was from the collection. Make sure that you like this video, and please subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much to everyone who has already taken time to subscribe and to leave comments. I really appreciate you guys. I'll be back next week with another review. Thanks. Have a great day.